Hello everybody, my name is Mars. You can call me MG if you would like. Today I have for you the 10 series that I want to prioritize reading in 2024. So this is just a list of books that I would like to either finish the series for, or in some cases, just make progress. That's also fine. I don't have to finish every single one of these. In fact, I know I won't. But before we get into the list, I do have a few disclaimers. One, I know I'll be starting a new series in 2024. I'm fine with that. I don't mind having a lot of series on the go. I do love finishing series, but I'm also not, upset if I've got a bunch that I'm in the middle of. Two, this is not an exhaustive list. I said there's only 10. I'm in the middle of way more series. These are just the ones that I'm most interested in finishing soon. Three, this does not include manga. And four, just because a series doesn't exist on this list doesn't mean that I'm not going to be reading it or thinking about it this year. I'm probably going to continue other series this year. These are just the ones that say I finished a book and I'm ready to start a new one, but I don't really know what I'm in the mood for. I would consult this list first to see if anything here tickles my fancy, that sort of thing. So, with those out of the way, why don't we get talking about these series? Number one on the list is a series that I have been reading since 2008 when the first book came out, and that is the Graceling Realm by Kristin Cashore. So this is book one, Graceling. I've had this since it came out in 2008, and I also bought the second book, Fire, and the third book, Bitter Blue. When they came out, I was that excited for it. This is a series that I've absolutely adored since I was a kid, so I have read all three of those, but those came out a while ago. I think it was 2008 and then 2010, 2012. But in the past years, I believe it was 2021 and 2022, two more books in the series came out that are direct sequels to book 3, Bitter Blue. So books 1 and 2 are more like prologues, I guess. They're two completely separate stories that both lead into the action of Bitter Blue. But I would like to read the other two books in the series that have since come out. I don't own them, but I would like to. So I reread Graceling last year as part of the Nostalgia Train book club, and this year I would like to reread Fire and Bitter Blue, and then buy the other two books that I can read. So that's the plan. We're gonna see how that goes. Next up, we have the Gold Seer trilogy by Rae Carson, which is a series that I actually have been wanting to read for literal years, since high school probably, and I finally read book 1 last year. It's called Walk Unearth a Stranger, and it's so good. It's historical with just a hint of magic. There's no magic system to it, but our main character Leah can sense gold in the ground when she's nearby, and I think that's so cool. I really loved the character work that we got in book 1, so I would like to read the other two books in the trilogy soon, hopefully. Next up, we have The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. This is a series that started releasing in 2012, but I did not start reading until last year. I read Cinder and book 2, Scarlet. I actually read them back to back, and I absolutely loved them. At the time, though, I only owned Scarlet because I got it at a free little library, so I read the ebook of Cinder, but my mother has lovingly given me the rest of the series and the companion novella for Christmas. So the series, I've read the first two, I haven't continued on, but there are 4 books total. Then there's also the companion novella that's the origin story of the main villain in the series, and I do own that. I don't own the short story collection, and I also don't own the manga that's set in this world that follows a side character from this book, but I would like to also read those at some point. But my priority is the main series plus the novella that I own, since I own them. So I do have plans to binge read this series a little bit down the line this year, so I actually have concrete plans for this one, and I'm really glad about that. Then we have the Mirror Visitor series by Christelle Dabos. I bought this book. Book 1 is A Winter's Promise. I bought it on recommendation from Wallace several years ago at this point. It's gotta have been 2021, and I read it immediately and loved it, but never continued on because I didn't own the rest of the series. But a couple of months ago, Scribd, which is now called Everand, it used to only have the ebooks. It used to only have the audiobooks, and I can't just listen, I need to be able to read along. But they recently also acquired the ebooks. So I reread this one and read book 2 last year, and I'm actually currently reading book 3, The Memory of Babel. I'm like 110-ish pages into it, and I believe it's 470, 480. So I'm a little ways into it, and a bit of a rocky start, but I am enjoying the world still. So currently reading book 3, and then I only have one more book to go after that, so I'm really hoping this is a series that I do finish this year. And next on the list is a series that I know for a fact I will not finish this year, and that is Animorphs by K.A. Applegate. And I read the first one last spring, I think, with the Nostalgia Train book club. This is not the last time you'll be hearing of them, but I really enjoyed it. So I also read book 2 a couple of months later, and those are the only 2 that I've read, which means there are 52 more, because this is an insanely long series. They are short though, so I technically could binge them, but I don't know if I want to. I might, at some points during the year, read just one, some points might read 2 or 3 back to back. Who knows? This is definitely not one that I am going to finish this year, probably not even next year, maybe the year after that. Who knows? I know that I'm in this series for the long haul though, and I'm fine with that. Then we have the Fortuna Sworn series by K.J. Sutton. The first book is Fortuna Sworn, that's also the name of the main character, and this is my, this is a fun series, don't take it too seriously kind of series, which, it also does have a lot of really, deep topics and character growth and things like that, but also there's a lot of things that just happen that are kind of silly. At one point, Dracula shows up, and I'm just like, okay, cool, I guess. So that's why it's my Don't Take It Too Seriously series, and I've read the first 3. I read them very close together last year. I think it was September, October. No, I read the first one August, and then September was book 2, and then October I read book 3, maybe? I don't know. I've read the first 3. There are 2 more that are currently out, and book 6 is going to be the last book in the series as far as I'm aware, and that comes out, I believe, January 1st, 2025, so a whole year from now, but I still have 2 other books to read in the series, so I'm okay with waiting. I know how long it takes to put out a book. Next up is Magic by Angie Sage. Technically, I think this is called the Septimus Heap series. I've always just called it the Magic series. I read this when I was a kid and really loved it, and never continued on with the series. So in this past September, I reread it because it was part of the Say It With Me Nostalgia Train book club. I was actually the co-host for that month, so I chose this book, and I'm very glad that I did, because I had a really good time. It's not 10 out of 10 amazing, but it's still really, really fun, and there are 6 more books to go, because it's about, wizards, and it's kind of, silly in the way it approaches magic, so of course there are 7 books in the series. The main character's name is Septimus. He's the 7th son of a 7th son. So, yeah. I read the first one, 6 more to go. I'm fine if I don't finish it this year, but I would like to make progress in this series. Next up is the Daevabad trilogy by S.A. Chakraborty, which starts with City of Brass, which I read in, I want to say, October or November. I honestly don't remember. It was very recently, though. I read a lot of books, so it's kind of hard to remember exactly when they happen, but I loved City of Brass. It was so good, and I cannot wait to continue on. There are 2 more books in this series, and I just really want to read them. Then we have The Scapegracers by H.A. Clark, which is a trilogy. Again, lots of trilogies, but the first book is called Scapegracers, and it's an interesting one. It's not one that I would usually gravitate towards, but I enjoyed it. Buddy read this last year, and I'm excited to read the rest because I feel like this could be a comp series for one of my own projects. So I'm currently working on a series that I'm describing as the Hex Girls from Scooby-Doo meets Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and I feel like Scapegracers also fits that vibe quite well. So this is one that I want to continue on with. There is the second book in the series that's already out. I think it's called The Scratch Daughters. And then the third book comes out in March of this year, tentatively, assuming Goodreads isn't lying to me. But yeah, I would like to progress in this series this year. And then the last series on this list is another trilogy, and that is the Fallen Isle series by Jodi Meadows. This is book 1, Before She Ignites. And I owned this book for so long. I think I bought it at like Costco or something when I was in high school. And again, I finally read it last year and I really enjoyed it. I was so pleasantly surprised because I thought it would be quite middle of the road. And this book gets a lot of like negative reviews online because it is a white author and a POC protagonist who's very much coded to be like a black woman, and not everyone is happy with that portrayal. Some people don't mind it, some other people like really don't like the portrayal. As a white person myself, I can't really speak on that. But one thing that I did really enjoy about this book is that the main character is also very autistic coded. I don't know if she was meant to be portraying an autistic character, but I was reading and I'm like, yeah, no, this character is autistic. I have no doubt about that. And as an autistic person myself, I really liked that. Like I said, I was pleasantly surprised to find that representation, and I thought it was a very good representation of autism. In my opinion, again, opinions might differ. What I think is good representation, another autistic person might not. That's not here for me to debate, but my opinion, I really liked this book, and I want to read the other 2 in the trilogy. So that's why it's the last series on this list. So now we have come to the end of this video. Let me know down in the comments any series that you're hoping to make progress on or finish in 2024. Maybe they're ones that I've already read, or maybe they're ones that I'm going to put on my list of series to start, who knows. But if you've enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel for more content, and that way I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye, everyone.